the trails were orange, and I just did that in comp. I just shifted the hue of the final result to orange, and I just thought it was better because the explosion is mostly blue, so I wanted to differentiate it from that by having a sort of orangey missile coming in. So in the end I just decided to switch over the color just using a hue modification in comp. So we've got these particle trails, and then we delete them after 3 frames plus a variation of 1. So in other words, with a range of from 2 to 4 frames, our particles get deleted. We've got basically exactly the same thing going on here for our spread trail, but you can see we're actually deleting them a little bit earlier. So we've got an age of anything from 0 to 2 as a particle range to delete our particles here. Apart from that, it's exactly the same as its sister event here, Missile Trails Focused. So I'll just turn off that switch to turn it off again. Now, Ringwave, this only has 1 particle. I'll just turn this off so we can see it take effect. And that particle is the Ringwave mesh. And you can see there it is. It's in purple, sort of lilac-y color. I'll just make this quite a bit darker so it's easier to see. And there you can see it's exploding outwards. And I've used position icon. I've based it on the pivot of our object here. And speed is based on along the icon arrow. You can see I'm basically using a very, very low speed, so there's no real motion going on. Then I've rotated it, and I'm using speed space, and that's just to align the orientation of the particle, the mesh, sorry, with a particle, and that makes sure that it aligns the way I want it to be. We're using this shape instance operator, and we're obviously instancing, if I look down in the top viewport, this mesh here. Now you'll notice that the two are not really the same kind of scale. That's because they're offset in time, and you can see we're offsetting the animation using the particle age. So in other words, by this point on frame 70, this actual mesh animation down here, which is just using this procedural Ringwave object, which you can find in extended primitives. There it is, Ringwave. That's obviously pretty much, you know, well on its way to doing its full animation. And we're just offsetting that animation using the particle age, so that basically the animation starts when our particle is birthed at that point, because obviously our particle's got a birth, has got an age of 0 at this point, and therefore the animation starts on that frame. We've got a static material, which is this Ringwave material, which you can see here, and you can see we've got this soft sort of blue coming in, and then we've got this intense white edge, which we saw in our example at the beginning of this chapter, and then it fades off down into these colors here. So this creates our Ringwave effect, and as I said, it's just a mesh which we've animated, and then we're just using 1 particle at that point. We're aligning it the way we want it to be, and then we're basically having that animate to produce this Ringwave effect. I'll just turn that off. Then we've got this Ringwave phosphors event here, and these are basically, you know, all of these have been based on at this age here, and you can see at this point we're spawning 1 particle. This comes down here, and we split off the first one here, then we spawn once, and then we split off another particle to go off over here, then we send out the remaining particles to go down here. So in this way we're just splitting off the 1 particle to become all these different effects. If I turn off the switch effect, you'll see we've got this first thing here, which is a spawn, and we're creating all these phosphors. There are 400 of them. We rotate them randomly, which is pretty common to a lot of the effects. Just minimize this a little bit further. Then we position them based on the icon, and if I actually go up here, zoom in on here, the actual icon is placed on here on the spaceship, which you can actually see it's here. It's very, very small, and this is actually what gives the orientation as well to the Ringwave. So if I actually change the diameter of this a bit, you can see it a little bit more clearly. This is actually the icon for our particle system. So you can see when I'm selecting it, you can see the 2 missiles are being selected as well. And you can see, as you can see there, right on the spaceship, they've come into this fine target and hit it. So you can see there go our Ringwave phosphors. I'll just select these objects and set them to display as box, just to make them a little bit less obtrusive. So you can see we've got our Ringwave phosphors, and they're spreading out in a concentric ring. and you can see we're using this icon arrow out, so